The old diner smelled like burnt coffee and grilled cheese. Rain hammered the windows, and inside, a young waitress wiped down tables with quiet patience, her hands trembling. A man in an expensive suit barked orders at her like she was his servant. His voice echoed through the room, making everyone uncomfortable, but no one said a word. Until a single dad, sitting alone in the corner with his daughter, stood up. He didn't have a fancy watch or expensive shoes. Just the quiet strength of someone who'd seen war, raised a child alone, and knew exactly what kindness meant when life got hard. What happened next changed everything. For the waitress. For the man in the suit. And for the veteran and his daughter. And here's the twist, that waitress? She wasn't who anyone thought she was. Before we dive into this powerful story, if you're moved by tales of courage, compassion, and unexpected kindness, you're in the right place. This is Kindness in Action, where everyday moments become unforgettable. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below if this story touches your heart. We read every single one. Now, let's get into it. It was a rainy Thursday in early fall. The kind where the sky stays gray all day and the world feels a little heavier. James, a single dad and army veteran, had just picked up his 10-year-old daughter, Emma, from school. They didn't have much, but every other Thursday, he treated her to grilled cheese and hot chocolate at Molly's Diner, a cozy little place that never judged them for coming in soaked or sharing a plate. James walked with a limp from a combat injury and worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads. He wasn't bitter. He believed in doing the right thing, even when life wasn't fair. That day, all he wanted was some warmth, food, and a few minutes to laugh with his daughter. But as soon as they walked in, they noticed the tension. A man in a tailored suit sat at a booth near the center of the diner, practically fuming. He snapped his fingers at the young waitress, a girl barely out of her teens, like she was beneath him. She apologized over and over, her voice soft, her eyes downcast. She was trying to explain something, but he didn't care. He cut her off, called her incompetent, and waved a gold credit card in her face. James watched for a minute, hoping someone else would step in. But the other customers just stared at their plates. Even the manager stayed in the back, pretending not to notice. Emma looked up at her dad and whispered, "Why's he being so mean?" James sighed. Because sometimes people think money makes them better than others. The waitress's hands were shaking as she tried to refill the man's coffee. A few drops spilled on the table. That was it. The man stood up, shoved the cup aside, and shouted, "Are you completely useless? I could buy this place and have you fired in a second." That was enough. James stood up, slow and steady, and walked over. His daughter watched silently, eyes wide. "Sir," James said, voice calm but firm, "that's enough. You don't get to treat people like that." The man turned, surprised. "Excuse me." "You heard me," James said. "She's doing her job the best she can. You don't know what kind of day she's had." The man scoffed. "And you are just someone who knows what respect looks like." The man sneered, eyeing James's old boots and faded jacket. "Look, hero, why don't you sit back down with your kid and leave business to people who can afford it?" James didn't flinch. "You're in a public place. That means how you treat people matters. My daughter's watching, and I'm not gonna let her think money gives you the right to bully someone." The diner had gone completely silent. The waitress stood frozen, eyes wide, clearly trying not to cry. James turned to her and asked gently, "You okay?" She nodded quickly, lips pressed together. "I'm fine. Thank you." The man was red with anger now. He grabbed his coat, threw a few bills on the table, and muttered, "This place is a dump anyway." He stormed out. The waitress finally let out a shaky breath. "Thank you. I'm so sorry you had to see that." James smiled. "Don't be sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. Emma came over and gave the waitress a napkin. My dad says being kind is free. And it makes you rich in the right ways. The girl laughed, wiping a tear. Your dad's a smart man. They all sat down, and the waitress brought their food on the house. It's the least I can do, she said. Really? They chatted a bit, and slowly, her smile returned. She told them her name was Lily and that she'd only been working at the diner for a couple weeks. She said she was trying to live a more normal life. James raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Lily hesitated, then leaned in. I haven't told anyone here, but my dad's Richard Hartford. The billionaire. James blinked. The Richard Hartford? The real estate guy. She nodded. Yeah. I wanted to prove I could make it without his name. He thinks I'm just on vacation in Europe right now. If he knew I was waitressing, he'd flip. James whistled softly. Well, I'll be honest, you're a lot braver than most people I know. Lily looked surprised. You think so? Absolutely, James said. Choosing to learn how the rest of the world lives, how people struggle every day, that's not weakness. That's strength. That's empathy. Over the next few weeks, they kept running into each other. Lily always made sure to serve James and Emma when they came in. She'd sneak them extra fries and laugh at Emma's jokes, and James noticed something change in her. She stood a little taller. She smiled more. She wasn't just pretending to be someone else, she was becoming the kind of person she truly wanted to be. Then, one afternoon, something unexpected happened. A black SUV pulled up outside the diner. Out stepped a man in a long gray coat, Lily's father. He'd found out. He walked in, looked around in disgust, and spotted Lily behind the counter. What is this? He barked. You've been lying to me? Playing waitress while your name is on half of downtown. Lily looked scared, but she stood her ground. I wanted to understand what life was like outside our bubble, she said. And I've learned more here in a few weeks than I ever did in a boardroom. Her father laughed bitterly. You're wasting your time. No, James said, stepping forward again. She's not. The older man turned. You again. Yeah, James said. And I've seen more character in your daughter's actions than in any of your insults. She's not wasting her time. She's growing. And she's learning how to treat people. Lily's father stared at James for a long moment. Something shifted in his expression, not softness, exactly,